Good morning, good morning. Welcome. Michael here, Deep States Mind and Wellness. How are you guys? How are you guys? There is an interesting thing because going live is always an interesting thing. So we have a change of topics. So we gave you the topic that was going to be for Monday's show on this show, and I'm still going to cover what I want to cover on here because I feel it's important to keep Thirsty Thursdays, or what we used to be Thirsty Thursdays, into a place where we are actually talking about things that have to do with hypnosis and NLP and converting and changing people's processes of where they are and where they're trying to get to. So my name is Michael Almers. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. I'm a neurolinguistic programmer. Let me get this camera adjusted just a little bit. There you go. So I am an NLP practitioner and I am a clinical hypnotherapist. I'm going to talk today about who can be hypnotized, who can't be hypnotized. But before I do that, I want to clean house a little bit because we messed up a little bit this morning. So we have a Monday show, which is Monday Pacific Standard Time at 9 a.m. And it's every Monday. It's set up for entrepreneurs who are either in business or are starting a business or have been in business for some time. It's a free group. What we're doing is we're working on getting everybody in that group. Then from there, we're going to move you into a private group where we can actually have talks, more like a BNI type mixer group, or like a business mixer that you can join. And in that mixer group, you guys can share information and hopefully help each other's businesses grow. Today, I want to talk about who can be hypnotized, who can't be hypnotized. And that was our original topic last week. So I'm going to stick to that topic and let's cover some of that stuff. Get these off for a minute so I can kind of get a little bit more comfortable. So let's talk a little bit about who can be hypnotized, who can't be hypnotized. So a lot of times what happens is that people come to hypnotherapists looking to be hypnotized, but they don't know for what or they don't know why. And I think that I've done this for 25 years, and I really do think that, in my opinion, that it's very important for you to be able to know what you're coming in to see a hypnotherapist for. And the reason is because a lot of times we're here to help you reach your goal, right? We call ourselves mirror holders. We're holding a mirror in order for you to be able to reflect upon yourself and to understand what it is that you need to do internally to achieve or externally to achieve those goals, right? And if you're coming to me and you don't know what your purpose is or what you're trying to accomplish, it's a little bit tough. We can find out through the use of hypnosis and regression behavior processes. But I personally prefer a client that knows what they want, or they at least know what they're working on, right? If you come to me and you say, I've been going through depression for the last 6 years and I don't know why. We go through and we start talking about what's happened in the depression. How are you doing? Is there any kind of a connection with you? And there's nothing, then that means it could be lying deeper. It could be a deeper issue. If a psychiatrist or an MFT, or if a social worker has come to the determination of, well, when your parents divorced, that's a time when you start going through this anxiety or through this depression moment in your life, and that's probably the root cause. Let's try to work through that. At least we now know where we have to go to, right? We have to know where we have to start. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how many people who can be hypnotized, what people can't be hypnotized, what people are looking for in hypnosis, and what it is that they're looking to do with hypnosis is very, very important. A lot of times what happens is that people just don't know what they want. They don't and I'll tell you, it's a lot of times what happens is I have clients saying, I don't know what I need. I don't know what I want. I don't know where to start. That's kind of tough because you have to do a lot of investigating, and it's good. We can do that, but it's usually better that you kind of know, especially if it's something clinical. So if you're having depression, anxiety, or you're having a medical issue, I mean, and pain, hypnosis is awesome for pain, but you have to know what's going on, right? And if you're coming in to see a hypnotist for pain or something that's a medical treatment, then we're adjunct therapy. So it's really, really important that you come in with an understanding that we're here for as adjunct therapy. We're here to be the mirror holders for your unconscious mind to work in healing the body, or assisting the body in healing. Um, a lot of times people, sometimes you have to blame the hypnotist. There's been times where I've had clients have been like, yeah, I did a one session therapy with this hypnotist, and he said that in that one session that I'd be able to start lowering my risk of cancer. Well, you're lowering the disease of cancer. And the thing is, it's adjunct therapy, right? The key element is that, yes, the brain is very powerful. The brain can heal, but the brain has to be able to know what it's healing, right? It has to be able to go in the unconscious behavior. The body has a great ability to heal. Just like when you burn the inside of your mouth, or let's say that you bite your tongue, right? You sleep all night, you're going in homeostasis state, your body goes into healing mode, white blood cells start going through your system to heal. And by morning, that blister or that bit tongue that you have, that, from biting your tongue during the day, has now healed, and in the morning it's almost gone. I mean, it's the body's phenomenal. But what I like to do when I'm doing hypnosis with a client is to know what I'm working on and to know what we need to do, right? What are we going after? What's the outcome we expect? So let's get back to topic. How many people can be hypnotized? Show me down below if you've ever been hypnotized before. And if you think you have, tell me how, in the comments below. And I'm going to look back at this recording. Sometimes the 9 o'clock doesn't bring in a lot of people on Facebook, and I understand that. A lot of you guys are like on the way to work. People are now working. People are now on the road. But leave the comment below. Have you been hypnotized? Yes or no? That way I can answer. I want to kind of just get an idea how many of you actually have been hypnotized. So in order to be hypnotized, there's some things that have to be put in place. For me, as a hypnotist, one thing I like is that you're coming to me and you know what you want, right? You know where you're going. You know the pathway of how you want to get there. Some people might want to start a new job, and they're afraid of it. And if that's the pathway that we're going to go, then we're going to eliminate the fear first. And then we're going to start having you visualize or go into a process where you're seeing your company working. You're seeing your business growing and developing depending on what stage you're in. So number one is that you know what you want. You have an understanding what's happening to you. And if it's medical or if it's physiological, something happening to you physiologically, then come in understanding that this is what I need to correct. All right. Another thing is you have to be able to concentrate. You have to be able to relax. And I've had clients come on and they log on for their first session with me and they're driving in a car. That just happened the other day. The gentleman's driving in his work van and thinking he's going to have a session with me. And the issue is that you can't really be driving and go into trance state with me. And that's just a misunderstanding of what hypnosis is. And it's important for them to go through that initial consultation with me or the strategy call so that they actually know what to expect. Because some people have no idea what to expect. And that way in the strategy call, we can decide whether we're a fit for each other, whether it's going to work, and how I can lead you. What can I work? How can I be of a service or assistance to you? Second thing is, and so that means completely. I've had sessions where, the client's trying to relax and a cat comes over and walks over their head, or the dog all of a sudden comes in and snuggles next to them and they feel themselves like push over. It's got to be calming. It's got to be relaxing. It's got to be a place where you can go into a haven place where you can go into a place where there's not a lot of distraction, or any distraction for that matter. You can't have a family member vacuuming the floor around you. You can't have somebody doing dishes while you're sitting in the living room, hearing all this noise that's coming in from the kitchen. So it's really important to have a quiet place. And what we do in our program is that we set up that place, right? We set up that place on the strategy call to get you all set up and get you ready to do sessions with me. Another thing that has to happen is that you have to be able to concentrate. So the people that can't, and there are people that cannot be hypnotized, and I'm going to clarify that right now. So the people that cannot be hypnotized are people that have extreme ADD or ADHD, right? They can't settle down enough to focus. Can they be hypnotized? Sure. So in I want to say it was 90, no, it must have been 2003, 2004. We did some clinical testing with some ADHD children, and it was interesting because there were times where they go into deep trance. The body and the mind was tired. They'd relax and go into trance. Other times it'd be like, most of the time it'd be like they'd just be, they'd start relaxing. They all of a sudden get up and start removing books out of the bookcase, or they'd start, fiddling with something, maybe a string on their shirt, and they'd be eyes wide open, right, wide awake. So it's really important to be able to concentrate and focus. And I'm not saying somebody with ADHD can't be hypnotized, because they can. It's just you're kind of playing a gamut, or you're playing a hoping game, right? That after we do so many sessions, hopefully 3 of those are going to work, or 4 of those are going to work out of 20, or whatever the numbers are. And I can't give you those numbers because it depends on the client, depends on the person that's going into hypnosis. Another thing has to happen is that you have to be able to relax. So the 3 things and you have to be able to take suggestion, right? So what we do on our initial session is we take you back in time to a place where you meet your conscious, unconscious, your higher self, your spiritual self, and then we introduce me into that equation, and yourself, because you have been making decisions and trying to change things on your own with the help of your conscious and unconscious and higher self. So it's really important to integrate the therapist into the practice, so that way you have a team as opposed to working by yourself. With anything, it's much better to have a team than it is to try to do something alone, right? We need each other, and that's why you're here, is that you're asking for help. So it's really important to make sure we integrate all of that together. Another thing that has to happen for somebody to be hypnotized is that they have to be able to, we talked a little bit about having to concentrate and focus, right? It's a passive concentration and focus. So when you see in the olden days, and I want to talk about way back in time, so when the hypnotist used to hold a pocket watch, and that's what pretty much most of you guys kind of can think about, because it's been ingrained in our unconscious behavior all the way from the very time hypnosis was coming forward, and mostly because hypnosis used to be used primarily for stage shows, for entertainment, right? If you go all the way back to the time when there were kings and queens, I mean, they were using hypnosis and processing in order to make people laugh. Everything is trance state, right? So with the pocket watch, it does work, because you're getting fixation to happen on the pocket watch. Eye fixation happens on the pocket watch. The mind starts to kind of focus only on the pocket watch, and then it becomes tiring to the eyes and tiring to the brain, and it'll start to relax, and it'll go into trance state. It'll shut down. And then at that point, when you can get into the cognitive behavior, right, into the HEPA filter of the mind, and get the conscious and unconscious to begin to relate to each other. So focus and concentration is really, really important for somebody to go into hypnosis. I personally don't just take a client. I have learned, I've done this for over 25 years, and I have learned that if I'm going to take a client, it's really important for me to do the strategy call and to understand what is the client's needs, and can I satisfy those needs? Can I assist in the recovery, or the assistance in getting my client from point A to point B? And a quiet place. I mean, you have to have a quiet place. I mean, it's really, really important. And when I say concentration and focus, I mean, if you have any type of mental processing, you can usually be hypnotized. All right. And a lot of times I like to say, it's not the client that can't be hypnotized. It's the hypnotist that's doing a crappy job, because I have never found somebody who can't be hypnotized at a certain level. And it doesn't take this extreme level, this unconscious walk around like a robot level of hypnosis, but it takes a level of hypnosis where we can understand, and our brain can grab that information, utilize it, duplicate it into reality, correct? Because remember, if the mind can believe it, the mind can achieve it. So in order for it to achieve anything we do, even a cognitive behavior, if you're going to change a tire and you've never changed a tire before, but if you get the unconscious mind to just believe, it's got to be simple, other people do it all the time, right? So you can change the tire. I mean, you'd be on the 405 freeway, on the freeway, sitting there trying to turn the tire, but you'll figure it out. As opposed to not doing anything, then that's a negative hypnosis state, right? And the state of, I probably could change the tire, but I've never done it before, I better not try. So the willingness to go into trance state has to be there. You have to have a client's agreement in order for them to be able to go into hypnosis. And that's even in a waking state, right? So if you tell a client, you can change his tire, and they're like, oh, I can't do that, I'm not going to do that, and they choose not to attempt to do that, they're not going to change the tire. So hypnosis works the same way. Once a client gives you the understanding, and the first thing is that they made that phone call to be with me and to for me to see if I can assist them. But once they're with you, it's a different story. I mean, they just that you have to sometimes get them to relax. I mean, it can be a very fearful thing for some people because they've never done it before. Like anything in life, if you have something you've never done before, it can be really scary. But the biggest thing is that there's a trust and a connection between you and the client, or between the hypnotist and the client, right? Another thing is that you have to be able to want change. So if a smoker comes to me and they're looking to quit smoking, and they're coming to me and saying, oh yeah, I need to quit smoking because my wife has told me I have to quit smoking because, I'm having this heart issue. I'll tell you, it's tough. I mean, a lot of times if a client's being sent to me from somebody else, I usually won't see them. Now, if they're a state referral and they're being sent to me for alcohol or drug recovery, then we don't have an option, right? We're going to do the best we can. We're going to work on this client. We're going to get them from point A to point B, or at least make a change and help, hope that we can help and we can get with the program they're on and get everything to meet in the middle and get the brain to believe they can do it, because a lot of it's really unconscious behavior, right? The belief of you can or can't. I did a Factual Friday that'll come out tomorrow about mesmerism, right? Frank Anton Mesmer was a doctor in way back in, I think it was like 1300 somewhere in there. I gave the dates on there, but he believed that you could just mesmerize people, and it worked. It was belief systems, right? So belief systems play a big role in hypnosis and making change for people. So the client has to believe that they can change and that they want to change. They have to, and a lot of times it's a hypnotist job. So if the client wants to change, but the client doesn't know how to change, it's important for the hypnotist to have some type of formal training where they understand what coaching is all about. In order to coach a client, you have to be able to guide them or move them or weave them through the obstacles that come into their head. Because a lot of times, really, the obstacle is being created by the client and it's not reality. Okay? So when you can go in and coach them through a visualization that gets them past those barriers or the structures that they already have built inside their mind, you can get success. So a lot of people say, well, what happens if you can't go through that? What happens if that client comes to you and you feel like you can't help them? I mean, do you still assist them? Absolutely not. I don't do that. I believe if you can't be of service to them and if you can't make the change or you can't assist them, then refer them out. If you can't do the job, refer them out. And if a plumber comes to your house and the job is massively huge and they don't have the tools or the equipment, I hope they're going to refer you out. And the same goes with hypnotherapy, NLP, psychology, and marriage and family therapists. If something's out of your tire well and you can't deal with it, I always say refer out. So if you're a client or you're somebody who's out there not a client yet, possibly looking to become a client at Deeper States Mind and Wellness, know that this is how we work. So first you can make the initial phone call. I'm going to talk to you on the phone, or I'm going to set up either that, or I'm going to set up a strategy call with you right away, because I just want to make sure that I can be of service to you and that we're going to have success. Otherwise, why am I wasting your time on something that I don't understand or I don't know how to help you get to that level? So it's very, very important to know that I don't take every single client. I make sure that I can understand the client can understand me, and that we know where we're going, right? There's a pathway to success in everything that we do. Pathways to successes always leave trails behind. So if this person possibly had succeeded through maybe cognitive therapy, and all of a sudden now something's changed in their life, then that change in their life is going to be the core root of where we need to go back and find out, and then say, okay, so when this happened, what happened to you? How'd you feel? What did it do to you? Did you get stuck feeling those emotions or those processes and not be able to move forward? So when I see a client with a strategy call, we need to find out where they're coming from and make sure that there's that willingness to change, right? That need, or that we call it I like to call it a leveraging. If you can't leverage what's happening with that client, you're not going to get success. It's really important to know that we can leverage other things. So And what I mean by that is I want to kind of touch base on that a little bit. So if you come to me for weight loss and you're looking to lose weight, and as this actually happened in my office, so the woman that was sent to me was sent by a MFT, marriage family therapist, who had then transferred her over to a psychologist because they knew there was a psychological issue happening with food. Her endocrinologist reached out to me and said, I'd like to send you a client because this client has done everything possible to lose weight and she can't lose weight. So, and they were getting ready to start amputating her legs and her arms because, she was getting, the diabetes was taking over her body. And the interesting thing was that, we said in the strategy call, this is when I had live sessions, right? And she told me, she says, I said, how are you, what do you drink soda? What do you drink? Tell me your lifestyle. And she said, yeah, I drink soda. I only drink 4 a day though. So I said, well, 4 a day is a lot because there's a lot of sugar in a can of Coke, right? But not even that. It was, what else is it doing to your body, right? You've heard the saying where you pour soda into the toilet bowl to clean the toilet bowl, and it does. It cleans your toilet bowl. Matter of fact, my roommate uses it a lot because it does a better job than Clorox does. All right. The key to that, though, is that the client, I said, well, what if we were to go in and we were to change the soda consumption maybe we do 2 iced teas a day, and then we do soda for the next 2, just to start weaning you off of it. Oh my God, there's no way. I could never stop drinking my soda. That's my ritual. That's my routine. That's the only pleasure I have in life. I said, okay, well, and then we kept going, right? I said, well, what if we went in and we started doing some fasting processing with you? Let's say that we only have you do 2 meals instead of 3 meals a day. And I can tell you that we'll give you enough fluids so that you can sustain until that break of fast at noon. You're telling me you don't want me to eat? And I said, well, you'll be having, if you want, what we can do is we can add in a protein drink in there just to keep the calorie intake in to give you satisfaction until we hit the next break fast, right? The next eating period. And she was like, oh my God, I could never do that. I could never live on a milkshake. So I didn't take her as a client. If there's not a will to make change won't happen. And you can't force a human being to make changes. You just can't. It just never works that way. So, the client has to come in and has to be able to be willing to want change, has to be able to relax, has to be able to focus and concentrate. And that's all it takes to be hypnotized. That's it. Because remember, and I told this to you guys in past talks, everything's hypnosis. The only difference is that we either accept it in our unconscious mind, in our moral system, right? Our inner waving of moral beliefs, or we don't. And a lot of that has to do with the cognitive filter of our brain. So you're getting information cognitively, unconsciously. It's coming in, but the difference whether it's hypnosis, a good trance or a shitty trance, right, is how much of that has been put into the unconscious mind. How much of the unconscious mind is making the decisions for you. And you can see that happening sometimes when you're told to do something or you're given information that may be working for other people. And let's just talk about business for a second. So somebody says, I tried this and it worked really well for me. But in your unconscious mind, you tried that one time before and it was total failure. Now maybe life has changed, right? Maybe it's been 5 years later, and that process or that implementation has been restructured or changed. If you don't try it again, you're not going to know the outcome. But if you're making that decision based on a fear experience of the past, that's a shitty trance. It means you're stuck in trance, right? That's why I always say there's good trances and there's bad trances. Now, if you're working with a bad trance, there has to be a will to change. If the will to change isn't there, you're not going to get anything to happen for you. And the hypnotist isn't going to force you to do anything. The psychologist is not going to force you to do anything. The marriage and family therapist is not going to make you change. We can't make anybody change. They have to have that willingness inside them to want change, right? You see marriage and family therapists that are dealing with people for 10, 15 years. And it's interesting because they're kind of keeping the threads together that are holding that marriage together. And instead of going in and saying, learn to communicate, let's talk about communication. Both of you guys come in. Let's figure out how you communicate to each other. How's it sound in your head, right? Maybe he's buying you a toaster because he thinks you really need a toaster. but you don't communicate out of your mind that you don't need a toaster. You'd rather have a nice date and go out and have some dinner and maybe a little gift, something small. It could even be just a token, a memory of something, a picture. I mean, of the first day you guys met. That's all hypnosis. But the thing is, if you don't know how to hypnotize somebody in love, right? You don't ever get to that point. And a marriage and family therapist can sit there with that client holding those little threads together for many, many years. When you come in and do hypnosis, the main thing is that we want to do is we want to go to the root of the issue, make those changes you desire. And if there's blockages or if there's barriers that are holding you from making those changes, then we go and we stimulate you differently, right? We get the unconscious mind to visualize it. For the physical body, that's where the NLP steps in. For the physical body to feel what those changes feel like, then you can anchor those changes into the physical body. Maybe it could be just moving your fingers together. Maybe it could be just taking a deep breath and anchoring it to that anchor. Are there other anchors that need to be collapsed? Absolutely. So if you're having, let's say you were abused as a child, anytime somebody raises their hand, you're going to flinch and go back and be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get hit. That is a learned pattern, a new trigger. That's something that got stuck in your unconscious behavior, and it's reacting the way it feels it has to in order to self-protect you. The key to that is that you make those changes based upon what the brain visualizes, but also what the physiological body can stimulate to do. So instead of just seeing the hand raising, it could be a process of getting the brain to understand that just every time a hand raises doesn't mean you're going to get hit. And then eventually what happens is the flinching will stop and that behavior will dissipate and turn into something different, we hope, right? I mean, we want to get it to where the difference is going to be that the outcome is reflected upon what you desire, not the old program that's running in that unconscious mind. So I'm going to leave you guys today with these ideas and understanding that if you're going to be hypnotized, these are the things that it requires you to do. All right. Otherwise, you're not going to go into trance, and it's a useless point. I mean, or you're not going to get change. And the thing is, if you're not going to get change, then why would you pay, $4, $5, $6, $7, $10,000 for somebody who's going to work with you, even as a business coach? You got a business coach coming in and helping you. So we just have a new coach right now. I mean, I have a new team right now that's working with me in Panama, and hopefully she watches this. But so Christina gives me these ideas to do stuff for TikTok. I mean, not for Instagram and their videos. And the thing is I'm doing my best to do them, and I may end up having to bring in a hypnotist to work with me because my mindset is, okay, I don't look good on camera today, or today's not that right time, or and I know it's excuses. But the thing is that if you want change, you have to be willing to make that change, right? So same with hypnosis. If you want to make a change, go internal. Find out if you know the core root of what's happening to you. Why is it happening to you? If you don't, I highly recommend that you see an MFT or a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Get that information first. And if it's deep-rooted, even if it's deep-rooted, come in for hypnotherapy. We'll do an evaluation. We'll do a strategy call. And then we'll see what we can do with that. If I can work with you, I'll take you as a client. If I can't work with you, I won't. You need a quiet place to be able to go into hypnosis. You got to be able to relax. You can't have pets rocking in and out of the room. You can't have people coming in and out of your room. You have to be able to be in a quiet place. You have to be able to focus and concentrate. And that's, again, it goes back to having a quiet place, a safe place where you can just relax and let go and let the mind wander and daydream. What I like to tell clients a lot of times is, unscrew your head, put it on the dresser next to you, or put it on, at the foot of your bed, and let it relax, because your conscious mind has been making these poor decisions for you this whole time. So just relax, let yourself go, and let me do the work. That's really the ideal thing that we need to work on when we're doing hypnosis, is to just chill out. You're not in control of the session. Your process is to let the unconscious mind just absorb these suggestions and hopefully take effect on them. Another thing is that you have to be able to relax. You have to be able to concentrate and focus, and you have to have a willingness to change. All right, you have to be wanting to change. If you don't want the change, then nobody's going to force you to make that change. Can we pull strings and just kind of get you a little ways? Absolutely. But kind of that's not Deeper States Mind and Wellness's goal. It never has been. My goal is to work with you, assist you, get the unconscious mind to believe it can do something, get the physical body to believe it can achieve it. If it's achievable, right, we'll know that in the strategy call. Then at that point, what I do is start getting you into hypnosis and get you conditioned. So now you're taking suggestions in a very prominent way. That's why my Olympic athletes and junior Olympic athletes do so well, is that they already have the abilities. All I'm doing is going in and finding out where they need to enhance, how they can become better. I always tell my clients, you know what, it's not that you're failing at something, it's that you're good at something and you just need to be a little bit better. And that's what we can do with hypnosis, is to get you to get into that place as long as the conditions are right and you're ready to go. All right, guys. So if you guys tell me if you've been hypnotized in the comments below, just say yes or no. I'd like to know that. And see what my audience is. And I'm going to ask you guys a favor. Do me a favor and share this with your friends. If you like these kind of talks and you like what I do, please share these, because the algorithms are a little hard on us these days. Facebook has changed a lot of things, and they're not really sharing our lives with anybody unless people are sharing it. So hit the algorithms, subscribe to my page if you're not a subscriber to my page, Deeper States Mind and Wellness, and also share this out to people that you think can utilize this information, people that you think maybe could gain something from this. But I appreciate you guys. I thank you so much for paying attention, for being here this morning and giving me your time. I know time is precious, and I appreciate every moment you guys give with me. Take care. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. And again, Monday, I promise, if you guys are business owners and you're out there looking for answers, you need a group where you can connect, join me on Monday. I'm going to be talking about the 5 jobs you can do from home. A lot of you need added income right now. I mean, I know, including me. I mean, look at the gas prices. Thing is that we sacrifice for freedom, right? I mean, if it was our country under those situations, I would hope that somebody out there would sacrifice to try to keep my freedoms and to hopefully keep me alive. So come together as humans, love each other, take care of each other, and have a great weekend. And if anybody needs to or would like to contact me, please do. I love answering questions. You can DM me in here or just send me a private message. Send me a private message and I'll be happy to address any questions you have. And give me topics. You know, you may have topics that you want to hear from me and you want to understand more about them. Please let me know. I'm open to suggestions, and let's build and grow. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Have an awesome weekend. Make somebody's day this weekend and have a great time. It should be beautiful out there, I believe. Take care. Bye.
I think these videos are brilliant, and I'm sure you will like them too. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell.